What's up, guys? Today we're going to be recording the award show for set 1. If you guys are new here, please make sure you guys like and subscribe. I am joined today by a special guest if he wants to go ahead and introduce himself.
Everybody, I'm Zazie, if you guys don't know me. Top player, I play this game way too much, so if anything, I have a lot of good input for y'all.
Yeah, we both play probably a little bit too much than we should, but, you know, at the end of the day, we have some good input here. So as you guys can see, set 1 awards are here. And this is basically going to be going over every position, top 3 or top 5. We're going to break it down for you guys of what our favorite cards were for this set. We aren't including core cards, and these will be their primary positions only. In a later video, potentially, we could be discussing God Squads, you know, something like that, and show you guys kind of break down with that, what that looks like. But set 1, let's get into it. Honorable mentions to these lists. We have Bo Bichette, Corbin Carroll, Diego Castillo, Munetaka Murakami, and Yu Darvish. These guys didn't make any of the top 3 or top 5 lists, but they were very close to making it, and honestly, they're debatable on whether they get in or not. We decided to leave them off just because they didn't quite make our cut. So we're going to go ahead and move on here to the top budget options that are 15K or lower. These are the top options here. We are only going to choose the best option here. So Zaz, if you want to go ahead and go over the first 2 here.
Yes, sir. So Madison Bumgarner, absolutely dominant. He cooks me so badly. I don't know why. It's the sinker cutter. He throws from God knows where out of his arm. So Mad Bum, sinker cutter, great option to start. Can still be in your rotation right now. Camilo Doval, we're going to talk about, it's the same issue for me. Camilo Doval's cutter seems like it's a million miles an hour, and it breaks with 1,000 inches of run. And his slider just disappears, and his sinker is disgusting. So if Doval's not your closer right now, I don't know who is. A tremendous option for 50K or less.
Yeah, and honestly, Camilo, I still use him in my pin. I'm pretty sure you do too.
Yep.
I think you're going to see him quite a bit in this video. So moving on to the next 2, Salvador Perez. I see quite a few guys still using this guy at catcher. Personally, I haven't used him a whole lot, but at the end of the day, it is what you use. I do like his swing. He does have a good swing, and I didn't really realize that we did this, but we split it up hitter-pitcher here. Santander is probably my favorite swing in the game. I kind of use his swing on my cap right now. I do enjoy his swing very much. He was hitting like 550 for me or something ridiculous before I took him out. It was really tough to take him out, but with his contact being so low against righties, I kind of had to on Legend. But other than that, if you guys aren't on Legend, I would probably be using Santander as your DH, and personally, I probably still would use him today. If it were up to me over every other card, I just like to swing that much. And the top budget option that we ended up choosing was Camilo Doval. So we think Camilo Doval is honestly the best choice for anybody, and you get him for free from the World Baseball Classic. He's really easy to get, so there's no reason you shouldn't have this card in your pen. I think he's absolutely disgusting, even though it is only a 3-pitch mix, but he is absolutely disgusting. Moving on to catcher, we did go ahead and do the top 3 here. I'll take Posada if you want to take the other 2. So Posada, for me, I wasn't a huge fan, but I think objectively speaking, he goes in the number 2 spot for me. I'm not a huge fan of Posada every year. I'm just not. He always swings a noodle for me. But he does have the quirks. He is a switch hitter, and he does have good pop from both sides. They did cruise his clutch rating a little bit, so at the end of the day, they did kind of hurt him with that regard. But the other 2 catchers, in my opinion, I think are a little bit better. Zaz, if you want to go ahead and talk about those guys.
JT's the best catcher option. I'm sorry, he is. JT's swing is unbelievable. He brings you defense, he brings you speed, he brings you contact power. Just everything about JT feels so right behind the plate. I can't take him out of my catcher spot. And Carlos Santana, too. New option. Defense isn't great, but his swing makes up for it. 125 clutch as well. Really high contact ratings. So if you don't have JT, I understand his price is a little bit high. Santana is so easy to get, very quick in the monthly awards. And dude, if you don't have JT, man, Carlos has got to be your next option. I'm sorry, Posada.
I agree, and with Posada's price tag the way it is, I don't think it's valid either to run him over either of these 2. So our winner for top catcher was JT Realmuto, as Zazzy kind of hinted to. I also really like his swing. He has good pop, good speed, good defense. He does have the pop quirk behind the plate as well, so that's kind of nice. I don't really know that that does a whole lot, but at the end of the day, he does have it, so that does help in that fact as well. First baseman. So we got the top 3 first basemen. I'll take the first 2 here. Ryan Howard. So I haven't really gotten to use this card a whole lot. I've used McCovey a lot, and I've used Gehrig a lot. Ryan Howard is one of those guys that his swing seems okay. I just don't think it's as good as Gehrig or McCovey, in my opinion. But I haven't gotten to use him a whole lot just because of his price point and kind of where he came in at. So I've been using Lou Gehrig a lot more than Ryan Howard. I think he's a good option. I just think Gehrig's a better option for his price point. Gehrig has all the quirks you could possibly want. I think he has a better defense than Ryan Howard as well. So that also plays into the factor. Now, if you're running the cover team, Ryan Howard would probably work better. I think he gives you the boost for that as well, but Gehrig doesn't. So that's another option that you could have for that cover build team. But I think Gehrig is still the better overall option in a vacuum. I liked his swing a lot more. He had a lot more pop for me. I really like Lou Gehrig, and he plays better defense at first, so you can't really ask for much better than that. Out of all 3, I hit best with Willie McCovey, though. So, Zaz, if you want to go ahead and take it into Will McCovey.
Yeah, so, this is, don't forget, this is primary first base, right? So I think a lot of people may have ran guys like Babe Ruth at first base, maybe Rafael Devers, cards like that. But McCovey's swing, in my opinion, is probably the best out of the 3. I'm a really big McCovey guy, and his power plays amazing. Ryan Howard and McCovey are kind of twins, cards-wise.
Yeah.
They're very similar stats, very similar defense. McCovey can play the outfield, which is a little bit nicer. But yeah, I think all 3 of these cards are very similar in what they do at first base, all left-handed hitters, so it's really just objectively who you have or who you enjoy the most.
Yeah, or whose swing you like. So our top first baseman, we did to go with Lou Gehrig, if that didn't hint enough at it. Lou Gehrig, I think personally, has the best swing of the 3 from my experience. Moving on to second baseman here, we are doing primary positions only, so this is why the list is a little bit limited, as Zazzy previously hinted to. Zazzy, if you want to go ahead and take the first 2.
Let me talk about Rod. Please let me talk about Rod Carew. Rod Carew is a card I'm going to live and die by. I think I was number 11 to parallel 4 with him. Rod has I've never seen more pop out of a card with low power in my life than Rod Carew. His swing is lightning, his power plays great, his clutch is high, his contact's max, everything is maxed on the contact region. Rod Carew, tremendous. He is going to be on my team for a long time. Ketel Marte, I think we've seen play probably every position he can, whether it's second, short, the outfield, whatever it may be. Ketel Marte seems to play it on people's teams. A lot of people have him parallel 5. He is such a good switch hitter. He gives pop from both sides. He has a great swing. Just everything about Ketel just feels so right to play him wherever you have to play him.
Yeah, I agree with the Ketel statement. I mean, I'm still trying to find a way to put him on my team, just anywhere that I can. Luis Arias, I really like this card, and Zazzy's going to hate me for this, but I like him more than Carew, and I don't know why, but I don't know what it is. Hitting-wise, I obviously like Arias better. Carew is better at everything else, in my opinion. I don't know what it is. I like his swing a lot. He has some sneaky pop. He still has the quirks. He doesn't have as many quirks as Carew if you're a big quirk guy. I know Zazzy isn't a quirk guy. I'm kind of in the middle on that boat. Like, if I'm deciding between 2 swings I really like, then I just go look at the quirks, and I'm like, oh, this guy has quirks, this one doesn't, okay. And keep it moving that way, but I like all 3 of these options here. I use Carew, too. Carew's really good, too. I just prefer Arias' swing, personally. They're not much different, honestly. And we chose, as our top second baseman, Ketel Marte. As much as we hype up the other 2, I feel like, objectively speaking, he's got to be the top second baseman. I mean, switch hitting, power from both sides, good contact from both sides, and he's got good clutch rating. So he plays good enough defense too. At parallel 4, he gets gold defense at second base. So Ketel Marte, I feel like, belongs as that top second baseman. Moving on to the third baseman. This one was fun to put together. I'm not going to lie. This one was really fun. There's a lot of good third base options, I feel like, right now. And especially with set 2 coming out too as well. There's a lot of good third basemen out there. Manny Machado, but this is just for set 1. Manny Machado, good defense, good bat, has 125 clutch. I love his swing. He's a card that holds near and dear to my heart. I did drop a gameplay on Manny Machado early in the year, if you guys haven't checked that out yet. I do enjoy Manny Machado. I used him quite a bit. He was just one of those guys that I just enjoyed using before Chipper. I think if you don't have Chipper, he's probably my preferred option. Chipper Jones is obviously going to be the best third baseman in the game for a while, in my opinion. I don't know that there's anybody that tops him. I'm sure Zazzy has other options there as well, especially with set 2. I know that he is using right now. He'll get into that a little bit, but Chipper Jones, max power versus both sides, I want to say. Almost max contact both sides. 121 clutch, I want to say it is. 122 clutch, something like that at parallel 5. Chipper's just unbelievable. He goes on the cover athlete team as well, so you can make him have diamond defense at shortstop if he really wanted to. Chipper Jones is just unbelievable, and he's so versatile. I mean, a switch hitter that has pop like that, you really can't get him out of your lineup, in my opinion. He's probably my second or third favorite card in the game right now. That's kind of how I feel about Chipper Jones. But Eddie Matthews is a good option, Zaz, if you want to go ahead and talk about Eddie.
Eddie is a very good option. I think third base is one of the deeper positions we have on this list. There's just 3 great options there for 3 different price points. Eddie Matthews is a phenomenal card, and this year I think he really got the card he deserved at a time where we could all use him. Typically, Eddie Matthews kind of gets lost in the mix a little bit, but this year, especially with clutch coming into play, he has a really high clutch rating, great swing, great power, great contact, really good defense at third too as well. I believe he can also play left field if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So Eddie Matthews, very good card. All 3 of these cards are very good cards.
And another thing that Zaz didn't mention too is I believe he can go on the cover build team as well. There is a team build that he can go on. I do know that where he gets diamond defense in left field. So he is a little bit versatile in that regard too. Obviously, though, the proper choice here is Chipper Jones. I feel like I don't feel like there's anybody else that's better than him still in this game today at third base. That's just how I feel about Chipper Jones. I love Chipper Jones so much. We're going to move on to the shortstops. Now, you guys are probably wondering where Derek Jeter is. Derek Jeter is a core card. We did leave this to set 1 only awards. So that is why you don't see Derek Jeter on this list. So shortstop wise, I'm going to talk about Lindor, and you can have the other 2 because I know you're going to have fun talking about Trey, and I know you're going to have fun talking about Tatis. And you're probably going to make some people mad about one of them, but it's okay. Lindor's one of those guys that, you know, stats-wise, they don't pop off at the page at you. Like, they don't just pop out and you're like, wow, this card is unbelievably good. But his swing plays really well. Switch hitting, hits both sides really well, has good clutch rating, has, like I said, a good swing, very good defense, probably the best defense out of the 3 here on this list. The only downfall with Lindor is his arm, so that's why I prefer to play him at second base. But at the same time, he is a natural primary shortstop, and he does belong on this list. I think he's probably, in my opinion, the second or third on this list. But his budget option and the way his price point is, I think he's the most affordable guy on this list. So if you guys are looking for a shortstop, try out Lindor. Lindor's really good. Moving on to Trey Turner, though. Zaz, if you want to go ahead and talk about one of your favorite cards, which I know he is.
Trey Turner might be my wild card. I know that's probably going to make a lot of people mad with guys like Chipper out there. But Trey Turner is hitting 460 for me. I've used him all year. He's been unreal. But is Trey Turner best position shortstop? Probably not. I would say even though because he's a primary shortstop, I would probably play him at second base. Even center field with 99 speed is not awful. But Trey Turner, his swing makes up for it. His offense makes up for it. I just don't think he's really a primary shortstop. I don't think I've played him there all year, just due to his defense and his arm and just all of his defense kind of being a little bit mediocre. Fernando Tatis, set 1 chase pack card. We all got excited for Fernando when he dropped, but boy oh boy is his swing awful. I mean, I'm sorry, but it is just bad. His vision is low. He has no quirks. Trying to hit a slider on Legend with him is near impossible. Fernando, on paper, tremendous shortstop. He's got the arm, the defense, the speed, the power, the contact, whatever you want. But in game, he just doesn't play the same, and I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Tatis either. I tried to use him for like 2 or 3 games, and I hit like 111 with him or something ridiculously low. I'm like, yeah, this card's never playing again for me, especially for 200K. Let's put it that way. I don't think he's worth his price point at all. Top shortstop option, we did go with Trey Turner. We both would hype him up. I'm not as big of a fan of Trey as Zaz is, but Trey Turner is a solid choice, and I think that he is probably the best choice at shortstop for set 1. We're moving on to the big boys, the outfielders. Now, You know Zazzy's in the video. You see who's lurking in the shadows over there on the right side. You know who had to be in the video. So I'm definitely taking the first two because I know Zazzy has a very bad opinion about one of these guys and a really good opinion about one of these guys. So we're gonna start with Trout. Trout is one of those guys that I love. Everyone loves from day one. I think he's one of those guys that you can look at and you're like, okay, he's gonna be my center fielder for a long time. I don't gotta worry about that position for a very long time. Trout is definitely that guy. Now, what they did do this year with Trout kind of upset me with his reaction, because his reactions are terrible. Let's be honest. His fielding's fine. Like, everything else is fine about the card, but his reaction is terrible. And I don't know why they did that, but they did. I guess because it's set 1 and they want to make a better Trout card later on. But his swing still plays really well. His stats are good. He's got 99 speed, for Christ's sake. Like, it's unbelievable. It's one of the faster Trout cards we've had, too, which kind of makes up for that reaction that he has. Vision is low on this card, which is my only, like, flaw with his offense, I guess you could say. But everything else about this card is amazing. I love this card. Moving on to Kyle Tucker. I can't express my love for this card enough, and I've expressed it to Zazzy I don't know how many times at this point. Kyle Tucker might be my favorite swing in the game right now. I literally just replaced him just to try out some new cards because I'm sick of using Kyle Tucker. But Kyle Tucker, defensively speaking, he has diamond defense out in right field. He has enough speed to get there. His reaction isn't that bad. At the end of the day, his swing is what gets him on the team. I think he could be a DH for me for a long time. I love this card. I love this card about as much as Zaz loves Vladimir Guerrero, for those who know, his love for Vlad. I love this card just about as much. His swing, to me, was just unbelievable. There was points and times where I was thinking about taking this card as my wild card. He was that good for me. I mean, he was hitting 500 on Legend for me for God knows how long. Now he's not, but he's just one of those guys that I personally just love swinging the bat with and love hitting with. And he doesn't play bad defense. He plays on the field, so that's kind of where I'm at with Tucker. I know Zazzy isn't a fan of Griffey Jr. moving on to the next one, so this should be a fun one to hear.
I'm not a fan of Griffey, but I can respect Griffey more than anything. You get the 5 tools in the outfield, which is something that I think all of us are kind of lacking in the outfield right now, is good defense with good reaction. Griffey brings you that defense, that reaction, that arm. Once again, statistically, similar to Fernando, absolutely unbelievable, but I just don't like Griffey's swing. He doesn't stop moving, and he doesn't have a light kick, so I don't know when the ball is coming in. I'm too late, I'm too early, I don't know. I can't figure it out with him, but his defense is so incredibly valuable. Anyways, who cares about Griffey when Vladimir Guerrero Sr. is next? Because he is just the best ever, and I will die on that hill. I don't care if I have to play him in right field. Does not matter to me. He's probably a DH. But if I have to play him in the outfield, whatever. Screw his reaction. He's going to hit 4 home runs for me, and none of them will be under 500 feet. He is the best. Babe Ruth. I do like Babe Ruth. Contrary to me not using him as much as I probably should, I just got bored of using Babe Ruth, I'll be honest with you. But his card is unbelievable. Max hitting stats, gets gold fielding at P5 in right field, which is honestly pretty nice. He doesn't play bad out there, despite his size. No offense, Babe. But yeah, let's get to the award winners here.
One more thing to add with Vlad too is he goes on that cover, the cover team. I keep referring to the cover team because the cover team is honestly, going into set 2, is one of the better team builds that I've seen. And objectively speaking, this is the top 3 outfielders. But going back to the cover build, that's probably going to be a really big build going into set 2 that I think a lot of people are doing, especially considering the cards that we're getting in set 2. So, going into set 2, I feel like these cards are going to become more valuable too with that part of it. So his defense does get improved, so he is a viable right field option as well, believe it or not. So this is the top 3 for set 1 though: Mike Trout, Griffey, and Babe Ruth. Objectively speaking, I feel like you have to have Griffey in center field for his defense. Trout obviously is Trout, and Babe is obviously Babe. Moving on here, so we are going to go ahead and get into the top 5 starting pitchers. So I think this one's pretty obvious. This one, I feel like there's not a lot of variance. There might be one guy you could take out here, maybe because of the glitch that's going on. Ohtani is one of those guys that I don't even have in the starting rotation because I use him out of the pen. And instead of Ohtani, I would probably put Yu Darvish here. That's why he made the honorable mentions. If the glitch didn't exist, Ohtani would be here. If the glitch does exist, which it does, I would probably have Darvish here. So, talking about the first 2, Zaz, if you want to go ahead and talk about the first 2, go ahead.
first two to me are the best two starting pitchers in this game. Absolutely no doubt for me. Roki Sasaki, I mean, we knew from day one, what were they thinking when they dropped this card? I mean, sinker cutter with outlier four seam, outlier sinker. It's so fast. And then he throws you the cutter or the slider or the forkball that seems to hit 95 for some reason. Just disgusting from Roki Sasaki. But in my opinion, the most effective pitcher against me has been Dustin May. Sinker cutter, he throws from God's earth. I mean, I don't even know where he throws from. The ball comes so high. His hair is flowing. The sinker comes in too fast. The cutter's too slow. The slurve breaks 33 inches. Dustin May is so freaking disgusting.
I would agree. I probably have the most trouble with Dustin. He's disgusting. He's absolutely disgusting. I struggle to pitch with Dustin just because I can't control him. But it doesn't even matter with his control, to be quite honest with you, because I see people flail at him all the time. Bob Gibson, another one of those guys, similar to Dustin in my opinion. I actually really like Bob pitching-wise. I usually hit him pretty well, but I usually pitch pretty well with Bob. I think he's got the best ERA in my starting pitchers, which isn't saying a whole lot because they're all like really bad, considering we had to go through the trenches of veteran and all-star and everything else with these guys. But at the end of the day, I really like Bob Gibson. His pitch mix is good, has a very hard slider, which is a very big benefit to Bob Gibson than all these other cards. That's the big reason I like Bob Gibson, is because these sliders are so tough to hit this year. And I think he's probably got the best slider on this list, in my opinion. Him or Ohtani probably have the best sliders on this list. Getting into Ohtani, I think he's just way too valuable not to have on your team in some way, shape, or form. Shohei Ohtani is one of those guys that he throws hard and he hits the ball. Also, if you want to put him at DH, that's another value he brings to the table. I personally don't really put him at DH, but he does have a good fastball. He does have a good slider. And in my opinion, he does have I like the splitter that he has. The splitter is just an option to get somebody out in front. I really do like the splitter option that he has. And honestly, I don't really hit Ohtani that well, but I see him almost every game. So it's getting better, but I do like Ohtani a lot. Pedro is the controversial one maybe on this list, that where Darvish, you could probably swap him in. I personally am probably a bigger fan of Pedro than most. I really like this card. So far since I've gotten him, he's pitched really well. And I think it's maybe because I personally like to work off of a changeup than the rest of the crowd. I know a lot of the crowd likes the sliders and stuff, but I really like the changeup, and I work off of a changeup and when I pitch. That's just how I pitched, and that's what I like to do. So I really like Pedro. Also, the good thing with Pedro is he has velocity and he can locate pitches, which is something that hardly anybody on this list can do. I think he's one of the guys that can actually dot pitches really well and has the outlier. So that's another benefit to Pedro Martinez that I think is very underestimated. Moving on to the relievers and closers, I'll take the first few here. Yennier Cano, he is like a lot of these guys are from the Player of the Month program, which honestly, they dropped some really good relievers in that program. I won't even lie. Yennier Cano has been one of my better relievers. I haven't got to face him a whole lot though yet. I know Zazzy's probably faced him a lot more than I have. So Yennier Cano is one of those guys. He's got the sinker, he's got the cutter. Does he have a slider, Zazzy? I forget.
Slider, no cutter, slider.
Nope, no, it's a slider instead of cutter. Okay, wrong way around. Anyways, so he kind of has like a sidearm-ish motion, and I really like him personally. I haven't really gotten to use him a whole bunch, like I said, so I haven't got to face a lot of live batters with him yet, but Alvarado I actually have gotten to face quite a bit with. Alvarado's been kind of lit up unless it's a lefty, and I don't know why that is, but he's got the pitch mix. I guess it's just because everything is literally hard, and everybody expects it to be hard. So everybody's so horned up for the fast stuff that they just hit him. So that's kind of where I'm at with Alvarado. He's not really deceiving unless it's a lefty-lefty matchup, which honestly, let's be real, we get maybe one matchup of that every game. Like we put him in and just get one batter, and then it's a switch hitter, or switch hitter righty after. So I don't know how valuable Alvarado is for me personally. Obviously, we did talk about, Camilo Duvall earlier. Moving into Camilo, how amazing he is. I don't think we really need to enunciate how much better he is. I mean, I think looking at this list, he's still probably the best one we talked about from the first three. I like him way too much not to have here. So kind of moving on to Rob Nen. I know Zazzy. I don't know if Zazzy's gonna hype this card up or not, but he's probably my favorite reliever in the game right now. Zaz, go ahead.
I also love Rob Nen. I think that hard slider this year has been one of the best pitches, especially on higher difficulties. He's got the splitter, he's got the outlier fastball, everything comes fast. He has a quick motion as well, which I really like. Doesn't give you time to think at all. Rob Nen, very good reliever, probably top 3 in my bullpen right now. Alex Young, similar to what you said about about Jose Alvarado, is that Alex Young is kind of the opposite. It looks like he'd be worse than Alvarado, but he has a lot more value for me. His control is phenomenal. He's got the 5 pitches. He's got the sinker cutter. He's got a funkier motion. Everything comes a little bit slower, which I actually like a little bit more out of my lefties. So Alex Young, especially with the Hoffman boost, can get his attributes way higher because Alvarado's listed as a closer. So because Alex Young is a reliever, he can get his hits per 9 way higher as well. So yeah, I really like Alex Young.
Yeah, I think that's a valuable thing too with Yennier Cano over Alvarado as well as the relief factor of it if you want to run Trevor Hoffman. And that concludes Set 1 Awards. Thank you, Zazzy, for joining us today. I appreciate it. I'm sure we'll be doing more videos like this coming up in the next set. Over on Zazzy's channel, I'm going to leave his link down below as well. If you guys are new here, as I said, go subscribe to Zazzy. And also drop a sub for me. It's free. Totally free. It makes both of us smile, I'm sure. But anyways, thank you guys for coming through. And until next time, I'm out. Peace.